I have an amazing crew that I'm with each and every week. I'm Kimberly Bonatti, joined by Ethan Euchre.
Happy to be here.
Absolutely, as am I. And Jeff Wagstaff.
It's great to be here with everyone today. Thank you.
Yes. And we have world-renowned orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Alfred Bonatti.
I'm thirsty.
And we are thirsting for information about physicians facing unfair punishment.
Oh my God. That is something else.
It certainly is.
Well, that is because physicians are a bunch of dumbs.
Are you in that or you're not?
No, because I create my own system, so
okay.
I run the system. But doctors are coming out from medical school and they are saving and serving hospitals and clinics, all managed by managers that they don't know anything about medicine, they don't care about the patients, and the only result is where they're going to get the money, and they're going to pay as little as they can, so they replace doctors from nurses.
Oh, you mean like healthcare providers, nurse practitioners, and physician's assistants in place?
Now you got it.
Doctor.
Okay, the things start
You
like
nailed that years ago.
But
He's
Doc,
been talking about it for years.
A nurse with a couple years training isn't as qualified as a doctor with 8 years of
Oh
medical
yeah,
school?
absolutely.
Imagine
Why
that.
not? Absolutely, they are. The only problem is, I hope they don't treat me.
Exactly, nor myself or anyone I care about. Even a worst enemy, I don't think I'd wish that on. Because isn't the difference in hours 50,000 hours for a nurse practitioner versus 200,000 hours for an MD?
It's not only that. That is an MD on the lower level that I'm talking about, a family physician. When you start to talk about an individual who goes to 8 years of training medicine,
It's more than 200,000 hours?
Absolutely, a lot more.
Wow.
Then you go to a internship, and then you go to a residency training.
Okay.
A residency training in some specialties like GP is around 3 years. If you go to orthopedics or neurosurgery or cardiovascular, it's around 6 years. And then you need to go from there. Is the first time that you are on the market.
Right.
You are now 33 years old before you really make your first dollar.
Okay.
And then you need to go to a type of a situation where you are being hired by a peer that become your supervisor for a certain period of time.
Okay.
And that is they hire you. And then after a few years when you really start to produce, then you become a partner on the system.
Okay.
And all this takes years and years of training.
Right.
And through the whole time, you are being supervised to the results and how this is going to work for you. The problem is not that. The problem that we're trying to discuss, why is unfair punishment? It's unfair punishment because American Medical Association is sleeping on the switches.
Well,
They
they're in the
do
pockets
not
of
do
insurance
anything.
companies.
Right now, we have a very aggressive nursing society who is pushing the nurses to be very poorly trained
And get doctorates.
and become
in less than 2
doctors in
years.
nursing. And the doctors in nursing are going to be practically at the same level. I mean, they
Same pay.
they want
They
to be
want
at the
same
same
pay.
level payment than the physician.
Right.
The major trouble with this is, how can I put? It's not the fact that we don't need some type of a service like that, but it's a service that needs to be supervised by individuals that
Correct.
they went through a really rigorous training.
You're saying highly trained to an infant with diapers, and they're trying to put them at the same level and offering you health care.
They have very poor training.
Right.
It's around 12 months from an RN to become then a nurse practitioner and then to become a doctor of nursing. The problem with this is if you don't have supervision, I see tremendous amount of mistakes created in my specialty by fully trained doctors.
Right.
Can you imagine how can be the problem with an individual who doesn't even understand the problem of neurology or cardiovascular
Right.
or ophthalmology? Well, when somebody starts to mess in your eyes and doesn't have the proper training, I think you need to have a second thought.
Right. But here's the thing. They're trying to put nurse practitioners in charge at the VA.
But that is a socialistic type of an approach.
Correct.
The most socialistic type of example in medicine in this country is the VA. And the VA is a disaster.
Right.
And now because they are saying that they don't have enough doctors, they're putting nurses in charge. Well, if you already have a problem at the VA with doctors, can you imagine the problem they're going to have with nurses?
Right. I understand it. The reason we were trying to talk about physicians facing unfair punishment is because Stephen Marin, who was a pediatrician in Arizona, he wrote a respectful opinion piece about nurse practitioners. And he said that he thought they were good, but he questioned
They need to be supervised.
their knowledge and saying that they needed to be supervised. And shortly after that article was published, he worked 10 and a half years and had no disciplinary actions, and he was fired.
The problem was fired by an individual who is the head of a management company.
Right.
So this is the problem with doctors. We continue going to a type of a program that makes doctors slave of a society when we don't need to do that.
Right.
You go ahead and push your practice, serve well to the public, and you will do well.
Doctors certainly need to speak up for themselves. Thank you for watching American Medicine Today.